सगळे आमचे हेराल्ड टीव्ही पळयणाऱ्यांक माय मोगाचो येवकार. हें जावन आसा 2022 कटार वर्ल्ड कप. आयज खंयचेच मॅच ना, तर 8 टिमी क्वॉलिफाय जाल्ले आसा फॉर द क्वार्टर फायनल्स. ह्यो जावन आसा क्रोएशिया, ब्राझील, नेदरलँड्स, अर्जेंटिना, मोरोको, पोर्चुगल, इंग्लंड आनी फ्रांस. 8तल्यो 4 फुडें पावतल्यो, 4तले 2 फुडें आनी मागीर फायनल जातली 18 तारखेर. तर आयज रेस आसा म्हूण we thought of bringing in a new aspect that is very important. But before we bring in the new aspect, I would like to share what FIFA President Infantino has been saying about the World Cup. He says that he is highly impressed with the Qatar World Cup tournament. He described the 22 World Cup as the best in history after the group matches and round of 16. He talked after that, and he talked about record attendance and television viewing figures around the world. The FIFA president praised the quality of football from all the 32 teams that competed in the group stage. He said, the matches have been of great quality in great stadiums. However, on top of that, the crowds have been incredible, more than 51,000 on an average. And then he goes on saying that we have had more than 2 billion spectators, 2.5 million people on the streets of Doha, and a few 100,000 every day in the stadiums, all together, cheering together, supporting their teams, and a fantastic atmosphere, great goals, incredible excitement, and surprises. For the first time in the history of the tournament, teams from every continent were represented in the round of 16. There were 3 nations from the Asian Football Confederation, another first in the tournament, 2 from Confederation of African Football, CAF, for only the second time in history. There are no small teams or big teams anymore. The level is very even. And also, there are no big players and small players, as we have seen yesterday, especially with Gonzalo Ramos. And the talk today, all the newspapers have been talking about Cristiano Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo's 2 sisters, they have joined in criticizing the manager of the coach of Portugal, Fernando Santos, Elma and Katia Aveiro, and they have expressed their support to their brother. Ronaldo's girlfriend, Georgina Rodriguez, also slammed Santos for benching Ronaldo. It was for the first time since 2008 that Ronaldo didn't start a game for Portugal. Santos said the decision was strategic and nothing more. Cristiano and Ramos are different players. There is no problem with the captain. Gonzalo Ramos stole the limelight, and then only Santos decided to bench Ronaldo for the first time in the tournament and gave Ramos the nod. Are Portugal better without Ronaldo? So far it seems they no longer need him. Several eyebrows were raised as Santos dropped Ronaldo from first 11, but Portugal produced their finest performance in the 2022 World Cup and grabbed a 6-1 win over Switzerland. New players, young players are coming to the fore. Old players like Ronaldo, but then we have got another good star, but always now on the verge of retirement, Messi, and a few others. What is their future? How are they going ahead? What is the hope for the newcomers? And we have seen players crying, especially after that penalty shootout. Spain not performing. The goalkeepers taking the upper hand, enjoying being in the shootout. I think it is a psychological war that we are facing. And to analyze and dissect what is happening now, we need to understand the role of sports psychology. We have an expert with us, I think the only one who is an MPhil in sports psychology, and he is Joseph Ronkan, who is here with us. Welcome, Joseph.
Thank you.
I give you the background. You can take over.
Yeah. Let's take small parts of this whole World Cup that has happened so far. Obviously, the World Cup starts with Ronaldo's topic, which is dominated at the start of the World Cup. It has been dominating, what has happened to Ronaldo. He's left his club and all these things. And Messi is performing, Ronaldo is not performing, various things. We need to understand from where Ronaldo has come before the World Cup, what he went through, and what has Messi been going through. Ronaldo lost a child. He was in his grief. He didn't get the time to, sort out that problem, issue of his. He was in the club that he loved the most. He got back to Manchester United. And from then, again, troubles because the coach, he said, does not respect him, does not give him the time. The coach said that he's lying, that he's not come for training and various things.
So this compounded actually.
Obviously, it compounds to what has he's coming. He's coming with some baggage into the World Cup. Now, compared to Lionel Messi, was into the starting lineup. He had Kylian Mbappe. He had all the best players around him, playing well, performing well. Whereas Ronaldo on the bench, at the same time, trying to cope up with the loss of his child, which he did not get the time. So look at the mindsets of both these players. Both of them are phenomenal players, but at the same time, their circumstances were completely different from where they're coming into the World Cup now. With Messi, he's got a team. Now, if you go to see, Ronaldo was just not happy in Manchester United, just wanted to get out of the club, and Messi enjoying every moment of PSG. And they both come into the World Cup. Now, one important thing that happened, something good that happened to Ronaldo was his Portugal teammates. And they were there surrounding him, and he looked much happier, with especially Pepe, the defender of Portugal, who is very close to him.
Giving one of the very older
players,
yes.
And he's given him that support. And yes. You could see that in him. He was happier, but somehow the form did not come into the play. Now, this is where that mindset that you're talking about, sports psychology. Now, first we need to understand what sports psychology is. Now, sports psychology is one of the branches of psychology. Okay, now that focuses on performance, that focuses on mental processes, that focuses on how to improve a performance, how to improve a psychological well-being of that player. Now, Messi didn't have much work to be done on, but Ronaldo on the other hand had a lot of work to be done on. He in fact met a clinical psychologist, world-renowned Jordan Peterson, to help him in this issue of trying to probably deal with the grief that he's currently handling. So, two different situations, two great players having different results in the World Cup. So, this is what we need to understand. Sports psychology is trying to do something different, and this is where that age is. Now, you spoke about players crying, like Suarez. He played so beautifully out of the World Cup.
And it is over for him.
It's over for him. Son played, gave his best out of the World Cup. In fact, Song even said, Heung-min Song, the Korean captain, he even said, I feel guilty for not being able to give my best to my team. Why does he feel that? Why does he feel that he gave his best for his team? But why does he feel that? So those are emotions. So we need to understand that sports involves a lot of psychological aspects. It involves a emotional performance relation. It involves a cognitive performance relation. So these are the things that today need to be addressed. And basically, earlier, things were not being addressed. People used to be, having this stigma about approaching some clinical psychologists or sports psychologists, thinking that they would see them.
They would say psychology मुझे पीछे का है, पीछांचे problem, पीछांचे दुयस का है.
Exactly. So now what has happened? We need to understand that visiting a psychologist or a clinical psychologist or sports psychologist is nothing weak. There's nothing weak about you. We all as human beings are vulnerable. We are not weak. We are very strong, provided we are strong here. And this is one aspect that has to be explored now. Other countries have been exploring this thing now,
and they are far ahead.
They are far ahead, and those who are taking it seriously are seeing results.
Kenna, I met one psychologist from Australia,
Yeah.
and he asked me, "Are Manohar, ek sang, can you stop the rain?"
Exactly.
I said, "Then what do? You get prepared for the rain.
Yeah.
तुझे umbrella door, raincoat door. पाऊस येयलो जाल्यार आनी तो म्हाका कितें सांगता, पावस म्हणटा आतां केन्नाय येता. तुज्या बॅगान म्हणटा सदांच umbrella आनी raincoat आसपाकूच जाय. So the same is your psychology.
Exactly, exactly. So now we need to understand how did sports psychology come into play. How? Earlier in the 20th century, we need to understand, like, this is a new concept, you know, that athletes are being studied, the mindset of athletes are being studied. Earlier what happened was, scientists, what happened was, started looking at athletes who are having the same training regime, who are having the same coach, who are having the same physical attributes, who are having the same diet plan, etc. Now, one athlete performing outstanding tasks compared to the other. What is that? So they got curious to understand why this thing is happening. Same things are given to them, same type of training, same type of physical attributes, but outstanding performance in one fellow, other fellow is giving below par performances. So they started focusing on the psychological aspect, the cognitive aspect of an athlete. That now what are cognitive aspects? Memory, attention, reflexes, emotional aspects. So these are the aspects they started to study, and that is where they found out that these are the crucial aspects that are giving that edge to an athlete today. And this is what you see in Cristiano Ronaldo consistently. For the past 20 years he's been doing this thing. How does he maintain this thing? How does Messi maintain his form? Why does some player only come and for just 2 seasons they shine and they're gone? Like players like Dele Alli, players like this guy, who is that, the France guy, what's his name? Pogba. Where are they today? They played one World Cup, they won the World Cup.
So they became like comets.
Exactly. So what happens? Sports psychology helps deal with failure, helps deal with success, the amount of success that you need to, how to deal with success. Because sometimes you win a World Cup and then you're out. Where is the World Cup scoring, the World Cup goal scoring Götze, what's his name? The Bayern Munich player he was. Where is he? He's not to be seen. Where is this guy, who is that the Croatia's guy? I can't get his name. Those players are not there. They shine just for one World Cup and then they're gone.
But whereas you have Messi, you have got Ronaldo.
Exactly.
For a pretty long time.
Exactly.
And now of late we have seen the goalkeepers. You look at their performance in the spot kicks, in the penalties. All of them smiling. And they say that, like Cristiano Ronaldo, he reacted badly to the South Korean player. And now everybody says what is important is how you respond to the situation. I think that is where the psychology plays a greater role.
Exactly. Now, if you go to see, for Ronaldo to be sitting on the bench, especially playing for Portugal, is something that is unthinkable. But he's being the captain of the nation for so many years. He's been carrying them single-handedly into tournaments, into the knockout stages. And now what happens? Suddenly people feel like, no, you don't need Ronaldo, you don't need somebody. That is never the case. They will always need him because they'll always see him as an inspiration.
Yes.
And his players...
And his contribution is there.
Exactly.
And he is the only one player now who has scored in every played in every World Cup.
Yes.
So, I think Fernando Santos must have been a super psychologist. Because to use him, make him to rest, bring him back again, give him that armband is not an easy job.
Not.
And let us see what happens. We are coming to the halfway mark, and you have been watching Band It with TV. This program is being supported by Decathlon Kalangut, Martin's Corner Betalbatim, Adlengoy Family Restaurant, Doria Deger Multi Cuisine Restaurant Old Goa, and Martin's Place Village Bistro Navelim. Don't go away. We will be resuming very shortly.
Please do drop in at a small little family restaurant called Adlem Goy, which is just 5 minutes from Basilica of Born Jesus and Say Cathedral. In this small restaurant, we serve authentic Goan cuisine and we are known even for our fresh fish, chicken, mutton, etc. Also, we are known even for the other cuisines like tandoori, Indian, Indo-Chinese. So why don't you come over? Also, we have a full-fledged bar and our bartenders do really good, amazing cocktails and mocktails. And also, most important point, we are having a live premiere of the FIFA World Cup. So do drop in with your family and friends, and for reservations, dial the number on the screen.
Today we are at Martin's place and the ambience, सारखे चोड बरें. Like look at this, so spacious and so nice. You feel like dancing. So let's cheers for it. The food here is next level. Like it's so good and so the prawns, guys, they were so kurkurit. Like it is approved by Mr. Kurkurit. So look at me eat them. And Goan sausage stuffed squids. कितने लागताले रे हो. सामके काडीज boom bang जाता. आणि तेंगे signature dish मिळला मरे stuffed crabs. कितने लागता बरा pure crab meat, white wine आणि cream आणि cheese gun. जेवणा खायला मरे आम्ही prawns पुलाव आणि chicken काफ्रियल की लागता हरके चोड बरे आता पुलाव.
Welcome back. You are watching Bandit with Herald TV. We have been talking about the sports psychology and the use of psychology in the present World Cup. We have been talking about the role of psychology, especially in the case of Cristiano Ronaldo. Portugal proved that they are scarier without Ronaldo as they cruised past Switzerland 6-1. The decision to leave Ronaldo out of the game was what the team needed, and Ramos responded by scoring a hat-trick with less than 25 minutes on the clock. Despite the result, Portugal fans remained faithful to Cristiano Ronaldo and started chanting his name with more than half an hour left on the clock. Was the substitution a disrespect for him? Rather than Ramos getting a standing ovation for his hat-trick, people were more excited for Ronaldo coming on the pitch. If Santos keeps logic for the match against Morocco, he should at least keep Gonçalo Ramos from now until Portugal play their final World Cup matches. Taking Ramos off would be a mistake simply by looking at the hat-trick he scored. Then Rafael Leão had also a chance to assist Ronaldo, but Rafael also decided to score and he scored a gorgeous goal from the distance. I think sports psychology is playing a very big role. If you have seen the performance of Portugal, transformed one without Ronaldo, how do you explain, Joseph, this transformation?
First and foremost, bringing the best out of a team is the most important part of the coach.
And he did it pretty well.
He did it. And that's where you have to give credit to Santos.
That means you need a sports psychologist with the team.
You need a sports psychologist with the team because he will give inputs to the coach, he will give inputs to the player. Now, when we talk about this whole situation, there's a term called as problem player. Now, who is having some problem, and because of that problem, the team is getting affected. The team cohesion gets affected. Now, once that happens, once the team cohesion gets affected, then the whole thing falls apart. Now, when I say team cohesion, the best team cohesion today in the World Cup is Brazil. You saw their players dancing, you saw even the manager dancing, Tete. So, the same thing now, this problem player. How do you deal with the problem player? How do you deal with Cristiano Ronaldo's issue?
Yeah, it is a problem.
Exactly.
It is a very big,
it is.
Especially after that altercation that he had with the South Korean player.
Exactly.
He responded and he made that mistake.
Exactly.
And when he was substituted, he didn't like it.
He didn't like it. He didn't like it, obviously, for obvious reasons, because he thinks he can score. He thinks he can contribute to the team. But then, at the same time, if he would fail to, realize that there are younger players, there are faster players, there are more sharper players than me, and there you need to give Ronaldo credit, where he has accepted, yes, I need to take the back seat now. I need to allow the younger players to get into the team. I need the younger players to play, and obviously these younger players are playing for Ronaldo.
What a decision by Fernando Santos.
Exactly. It was a tough decision, but somewhere that is where you need to take that decision. You and for the the player who is feeling into Ronaldo's shoes, just imagine what is the pressure on him to perform.
Yes.
Yeah. So we need to see what is his the stress that he is going on to. Now this is where sports psychology comes. That
So a sports psychologist
Hmm.
is a master, and very often people say, especially the teams, my team has not performed well. Can you come and give them some lecture or advice? Is that the correct methodology?
that is absolutely the wrong methodology, where you just call a sports psychologist, give them a pep talk, or that pep talk can be done by a manager. What is the sports psychologist aspect in sports is a long-term project. See, there are sports psychologists who be in the academy setup, who are with the player from the age of 12, who are entering academy setup, and then they are there till 18. Then they have a different sports psychologist who looks at the short-term aspects of this thing, like for example the tournament now, like FIFA World Cup. There is a sports psychologist who is there and he's taking up the whole profile of the player, from where this player, now for example Ronaldo, okay, he's having grief issues, or he's having depressive symptoms, he's having something else. Can the coach do that? Can a physiotherapist do that? No.
So this is very specialized
It is
job.
exactly. So I'll speak to this whole thing in terms of an analogy. Okay, let's consider sports, a team, as a opera, as an opera where various musicians come. There's a guitarist, there is a violinist, all these guys. Now if I tell the violinist, you play the violin and you play the keyboard, is it possible?
No.
It's not. The orchestra is not going to sound well at all. So the same thing is with sports. Your coach has to prioritize his coaching. The physiotherapist has to prioritize physiotherapy. Your exercise condition coach has to prioritize conditioning, and your psychologist has to prioritize the mental aspect of an athlete.
Now I haven't seen many psychologists, especially with the Indian teams. Goan teams, I have not seen any. So there is definitely a need for that.
There is a need, and research shows that there is a need, and there is an importance of a sports psychologist. Not just sports psychologist, there is an importance of having a scientific approach to sports today.
Now what do you mean scientific?
Yeah.
Which are the areas that need to be
So
seen?
we need to have a dedicated dietitian, we need to have a dedicated video analyst, we need to have a dedicated data analyst, we need to have a biomechanist, we need to have exercise physiologist. So these are various branches of sports science. Obviously you need to have a sports psychologist. So this is what makes a team, not just conditioning. Tell them how do you, for example, Spain lost in penalties, favorites to go through, but lost in penalties.
Yeah, but then the goalkeepers,
Exactly.
They stole their limelight.
Exactly.
How do you explain that?
Yeah. So this is what now this is what I'm talking about. Penalties always is a stressful event in sports. They say it is lottery, it's a lottery. I don't agree to that term. It's not a lottery. It is skill that you apply, and that is a skill that you you execute that skill. You take a penalty, you try to score it. As a goalkeeper, you try to save it. Now if you see the Spain's penalty with Morocco, the goalkeeper was smiling and laughing, and I think Brahmanand sir also noticed that, because he's one of our best goalkeepers. Yeah, he's a legendary goalkeeper of in Goa. He noticed that. Now I'll talk about the psychological aspect of this thing, because penalty is a stressful situation, but now we need to understand stress is it good or bad? Is anxiety good or bad? You can't say that stress is bad.
They say that some stress is necessary.
Is required. You have to be if you want to be optimal and you want to perform, you need to have some degree of stress. But how to convert this stress? There are two types of stress: distress and eustress. Now distress is what? Your perception towards that situation, like penalty, it's a negative situation. How do I change it to a positive situation? So I need to look at penalty as a challenge. As a goalkeeper, it is a challenge that I need to stop that penalty taker. So I'm going to try and distract him by smiling at him. I'll smile. I'll create in his mind a doubt that I know I can save your penalty. So he like Bono, the Moroccan keeper, he plays for Sevilla, and he used this thing. He changed the whole aspect of stress from negative to looking at it as a positive stress. The next thing is anxiety. From anxiety, he's looking at excitement. He's changing the whole dimension of that emotion.
This is pure psychology, nothing else.
He's changing exactly. So that is where your sports psychologists come. Same thing, productivity. Now, for example, if you see Messi sometimes, I've seen this in Messi. Sometimes when he passes and his rhythm is not right, his shoulders surge off, his neck falls down. So he starts walking. Obviously, he's looking for, but
So the body language.
Yes, body language changes. But if you see Mbappe, he's all the time running. Even if he makes a mistake, he's running. Same thing you'll see in English players. They make a mistake, they run. So their motivation is high. So again, it's part of stress. If you're highly stressed, you procrastinate. If you're using eustress, you've converted distress into eustress, you're getting motivated to achieve that. And the same thing with performance. In the end, it is performance. Your performance, if you're distressed, your performance is low. If you're using eustress, your performance is high.
So psychology plays a very vital role.
Exactly. And that is how the Moroccan goalkeeper was managed to save all those penalties.
Yes.
Even if the first penalty had gone in for whatever reason, I think looking at the body language of that goalkeeper, Bono, he would have saved two, for sure.
And you have seen the body language yesterday of Ramos.
Yeah.
He was
happy
ever.
Exactly.
And everybody
Yeah.
was
Yes.
getting along
Yes.
with him.
And that is the thing about the confidence. Probably that sports psychologist said, you have practiced, you have represented the under 19s of, you've been in the finals of the under 19 World Cup. You are in the World Cup now. You have your skill set. Trust your skill set. Be confident in your ability. He was confident.
But then this is not a 1 day or 1 month's work.
It is not 1 month.
It's a long-term process.
It is a long-term process.
You need to have a dedicated psychologist.
Yes.
And you have said you need lot of technicians
Yes.
to support you,
Yes.
to analyze the data and all that. So we need, I think, to revamp our system and organization. We are coming, unfortunately, there is less time and we are coming to the end of this presentation. I hope it opens the eyes of our officials, of our associations, of the government, because government says teams are not performing. They should look at the finer aspects of what is needed and how it is to be done. We thank our supporters, Decathlon Kalangut, Martin's Corner Betalbatim, Adlengoy Family Restaurant, Durya Degir Multi Cuisine, Martin's Place Village Bistro, and especially my gratitude, the gratitude of Herald, to Joseph for being here with us and educating us all about this vital aspect, which is missing more so in Goa and also in India. Thank you very much. And to all our viewers, thank you very much. Stay with us. We'll be tomorrow also, and we have a new presentation tomorrow. We shall see what it is when the time comes. Bye-bye. Till we meet again tomorrow.